So you're on scene with a patient with altered mental status. You need to figure out what's going on with him. You need to figure out and diagnose what's going on with your patient. Today I'm here to offer you 2 helpful mnemonics on altered mental status to better work up your patients. Alright? So the first one is called SNOT. S-N-O-T. SNOT. You can think about it as hitting him with a snot rocket, when you're a little kid. Whatever you want to do, SNOT is the mnemonic. Okay? Now I got this mnemonic based off of John Belinsky. He's a PA up in Buffalo, New York. Has a YouTube channel. His business is called Save Me for Life. I've tweaked that mnemonic a little bit for EMS, and you'll see that when we get to it. The second mnemonic is my own. It's called SSS. So there's 3 S's in altered mental status, or you can think about it as I'm sending out a SSS because that patient has altered mental status. Okay? Whatever way you want to remember it, they're pretty easy to remember. So the top 7 things we need to look for in altered mental status. Alright? Now here we go. So let's get stuck in here. So, SNOT. S stands for sugar. Check out blood sugar on your patient. Make sure it's just a simple diabetic patient or maybe a nuanced diabetic. Check a sugar. Okay? From there we go to N, which stands for Narcan. Is this a simple opiate overdose patient? Now, I stretch it out a little bit here. When we say Narcan, we think of overdose in general. So I want you to think about this critically. Is this an overdose that we're missing? It may not be an opiate overdose. Maybe it's a beta blocker overdose or a calcium channel blocker overdose. Are we getting our glucagon out for these patients, Is it some other medications that we may see on scene? Benzodiazepine overdose is common. Stuff like that. So, are there drugs and alcohol at play here? Or is this a simple EPOH? That's in that mode. We go down from there. We go to O for oxygen. Check an O2 sat. If your patient's hypoxic, if your patient is in hypoxia, they could be altered. So give them oxygen. That could solve the problem right there. Now T is where I tweaked it a little bit. T is for trauma. Okay, mainly head trauma, which we see a lot in EMS. Do a pupil exam. Okay. Are they hypertensive with a blown pupil and a hematoma? There's your head injury right there. Okay? Now, if all those check out, you did a great job. But there's more to do. We need to send out an SSS for altered mental status. Okay? Here's my own mnemonic that I've made up. SSS in altered mental status. Okay, here we go. Now, S is for stroke. Okay, do a stroke scare on your patient if you can. Look for signs of stroke. We know, the facial droop or drift. This also counts if your hands like this, so down. Also you can take their legs too for any leg drift. They hold their legs there for about 10 seconds. The same thing. Look for equal hand grip. Do a pupil exam. Nystagmus, which we'll get into in another video. Vertical nystagmus could be a sign of a stroke. Okay. There's plenty of other ways to do it as well, but do a stroke scale, a good one, okay, if you can. Now, what else? The next thing, sepsis. The 2 most common pathways to sepsis I found, pneumonia and UTI. So pneumonia and UTI, we're thinking sepsis in these patients, okay? So with pneumonia, they cough and have any green or yellow sputum. UTI, ask them questions about, any urinary symptoms, burning, recent infections. Very common in the elderly, okay? Alright, now look at these 2 things. Your patient could be septic. Sepsis involves tachycardia, high respiratory rates. They had labs drawn, that's excellent. Fever. So these are the things we're looking at, okay? Now from there, the last one is seizure. This is where it comes in with your meds. Are they on Keppra? Are they on Dilantin? Are they on Depakote? These are 3 of the most common seizure medicines that we know. Now, are they acting post-ictal? At that point, your best bet would be to give oxygen and check a blood sugar, which you already did. So we're covering these things. So now, if it's none of these things, you've covered a wide variety. At this point, at the paramedic level, we're obviously going to get vitals and do an EKG. Now, if those two things check out, I would suggest that it's probably something to do with electrolytes or blood work that we can't see. Now, you could see, yes, you can see some electrolytes in the EKG, but again, that's time for another video. So that's what I have to offer you to better work up your altered mental status patients. Thank you. And once again, this is Evan from EMT and Paramedic Training. My whole goal here is to get EMT students, Paramedic students, and anyone in EMS really thinking about how we can do better for our patients and not get burned. Alright? Thank you.